Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is not a question, this is a request to sing Nirvana Shatkam. I guess she will sing it well. Can you really explain different meanings of Gayatri Mantra? And do they correspond to the different meanings of Om in Vedanta Mandukya Karika? So Gayatri Mantra, perhaps, hopefully, everybody knows. Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. This mantra has been commented upon by many scholars. Books have been written on this mantra also. But the Vedantins, so different traditions interpret this mantra in their own way. Vaishnavas will interpret this as description of Vishnu and things like that. Vedantins interpret that as Mahavakya. And Mandukya Karika doesn't specifically talk about, something similar to this. Mandukya Upanishad talks about Mahavakya, Ayamahatma Brahma. Here, Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhimahi, we meditate. Bhargaha, upon the effulgence. Tat Savituhu Devasya Bhargaha. The effulgence of Savituhu, of the Surya, Lord Sun, Devasya, the self-effulgent, the brilliance or the resplendence of the self-effulgent sun, Varenyam Bhargaha. The Bhargaha, the effulgence or resplendence, which is adorable, Varenyam. Upon that adorable effulgence of the self-effulgent Lord Sun, we meditate. So then, this effulgence can be interpreted in different way. In simple terms, it is the physical light of the sun, which is the main purpose of this mantra. That in early morning, before the sun rises, you recite this mantra, welcoming the sun. The students meditate upon the very brightness and effulgence of the sun. And meditation upon the effulgence of light makes your intellect also bright. So at that age, this is all you understand these words in this manner. Dhiyo yonah prachodayat. May that sun inspire our thoughts in the upward direction. Meaning that may our thoughts always be, may it cause noble thoughts in our mind. Then this effulgence you can interpret as consciousness. the sun is interpreted now Savitru. You can add a prefix prasavitru. Prasava means creation. So, one is creator and the sustainer and the dissolver. And therefore, that the Ishvaras or the light of Brahman, which is consciousness, which is self-effulgent, which is most adorable, upon that we meditate. How do we meditate? That light we meditate is our own self. Because the only way you can meditate on consciousness is only as yourself, because it can't be objectified. That sun can be interpreted as Ishvara or Brahman, or can be interpreted as the very self also, who is the witness of all our thoughts. May that self-effulgent consciousness, which is myself, witness of all the thoughts, may he inspire my thoughts. So, prachodayat, may he illumine, may he enliven my thoughts, may he may he direct my thoughts in the upward direction. Means towards moksha, towards Ishvara. So sun can be interpreted as sun, as Ishvara, the creator, sustainer, dissolver, or as the very self. And accordingly light can be interpreted also in different ways. And prachodayat, as sun, may he inspire, may he illumine, may he enliven my thoughts. So in this way, these words can be interpreted differently, and then with combination you can come up with different meanings. By interpretation of sun as Brahman or as self, itself will bring about an identity, so that's how it becomes a Mahavakya. In that sense, it reveals the same meaning as Mandukya, which also, reveals the Mahavakya. Different meanings of Om in Vedanta. Generally in Vedanta, Om is interpreted as Saguna Brahma, as Sopadikam and Nirupadikam Brahma. So the Prashnopanishad says that may you meditate upon Omkara as Apara Brahma or Parabrahma. Kathopanishad also says Etad Dhyavaksharam Brahma, Etad Dhyavaksharam Param. So that same Aksharam or immutable, which is Omkara, can be Param Brahma or Aparam Brahma. Either way you can meditate upon them. Yo yadicchasi tasya tat, and one attains whatever one desires, Saguna Brahma or Nirguna Brahma. Brahmaloke mahiyate. By meditating upon Om as Saguna Brahma, one goes to Brahmaloka. Or Nirguna Brahma, Brahmaiva Loka. Meaning gets identification with Brahman. Yo yadicchasi, whatever you want, you can achieve through this. So thus, Omkar also is presented as the as a pratika, as a symbol upon which you may itself meditate as Brahman, or upon as Nama, which is what Mandukya Upanishad does, by superimposing different meanings upon this letter. Basically, there are meaningless sounds, and you impart meaning to that. That's what Mandukya Upanishad does. Thus, Om is looked upon as Akara, Ukara, Makara, and then upon Akara you superimpose various things. Here only the waking, dream and deep sleep, three states are superimposed. But Trayi Sankhyam Yoga Pashupatimatam Vaishnavamit. Traim Tisro Vrittis Trihunamato Trinapi Suran. You can superimpose upon that the three states, the three Vedas, the three worlds, the three Devatas, the creation, three of anything. And that way, all of together, this akara, ukara, makara will represent the whole, Saguna Brahma or manifest Brahma. And so, Traim Tisro Vrittis Tribhunavato Tirna Visuran Akaradhyarvanis Tribhiravidat Vikrute. And the space between the utterance of Om will also stand for the Nirgunam Brahma. And that way, Samastam Vyastam Tvam. O Lord, as Omkara, Samastam and Vyastam, as Sopadhika and Nirupadhika, this is how they look at you. So Omkara, therefore, Akara, Ukara, Makara, Matras represent this Saguna Brahman. Because three gunas, three states, and everything you can interpret, you can superimpose. And then the space between, the gap between the two mantras, which is called the matra, which is in fact dimensionless. That stands for the silence stands for Nirgunam Brahma. So this is what Mandukya does, as far as Omkara is concerned. That's why Turiyam Te Dhama. So Turiyam means that interval between the two Omkara, which is dimensionless. So Turiyam then means the Nirvishesham Brahma. How to understand properly? The given example in today's meditation, where Ishvara is a sculpture, which seems to be duality. Ishvara is different, sculpting me, yes, and the unity or oneness which Ishvara in Vedanta. So both are right as far as Vyavahara is concerned. As far as our day-to-day life is concerned, when we say bringing Ishvara into our life, certainly I look upon Ishvara as different from me. I look upon him as a creator, sustainer, omniscient, etc. and want to bring him in my life. This is the worship part. And then ultimately, at the right time, I recognize Ishvara as my own self. That's the knowledge of non-duality. And so we begin with duality, which is where we are. So we begin with where we are, where we habitually look upon Ishvara as separate from us. Or more than that, we look upon ourselves as limited individuals. And we want to overcome these limitations, where we also find various emotional difficulties. And therefore, we have to slowly come out of those emotional problems, which are generally say raga-dveshas or attachments and aversions. So we seek Ishvara's help in terms of overcoming these obstacles of raga and dvesha. So this is where karma yoga comes, bhakti yoga comes, prasada buddhi comes. So prasada buddhi siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. We look upon the success and failure equally, remain equanimous. So this is prasada buddhi is what we are talking about. And it is easier said than done that you accept both success and failure with the same equanimity. That is only when we realize that both of these are given to us by Ishvara and that both of them come to shape me, and behind that Ishvara's only his benevolence is involved. Then only I can take them in the stride. Then only I can have an equanimity with reference to success and failure. When failure also is looked upon as given to me as a gift for shaping me. In that sense, if I do not judge success and failure based on their material dimensions, but look upon both of them as opportunities to grow, then both of them have the same potential through which Ishvara wishes to shape me. So all of this is required. This is based on how we look upon ourselves today, and therefore how we look upon Ishvara today. This is not in contradiction to non-duality, but this is a way of overcoming the duality so that we can ultimately appreciate the non-duality. So bhakti is a way to conduct ourselves in duality so that we grow out of duality. This is the follow of yesterday's question. I guess the question was, what is evidence that a person is enlightened? I guess that is some kind of question was there yesterday. How do we determine that a person is wise? And I guess that question does arise in minds of people because people want to see and they tell us, where is anybody like that? Show us, then we can believe that this thing is working. This being a very subjective thing, there is no way that we can show or give any kind of objective description because objective description will be different with different people. Krishno bhogi shuko yogi dhunupo janakaraghavau karmanishtaha vasishtadhyaha sarvete jnanina samaha. They say that as far as wisdom is concerned, all these diverse looking people are different. Krishna bhogi, Lord Krishna was bhogi. Bhogi means what? 16,108 consorts. Can you imagine? That's what Lord Krishna was. Shuko yogi. Shukadev is yogi, he is avadhuta, and he doesn't wear clothes, he's not even aware of his body. About this Shukadev is a young man, very beautiful, handsome. And he is very, I think 16 years old, and he just walks away from his father. And his father is so attached to him because he didn't spend any time with him at all. So this young Shukadevji is walking, and behind him his father is calling him, Putra, Putra, hey son, oh son. Putredi tanmaya tarvo vineduhu. Shukadev does not even reply. On his behalf, the trees are replying. When the father is calling him, oh my son, the trees are replying. Why is it so? Sarvabhuta Hridayam, because he is the self of all. He is such an identification of everything that the trees are also his own self, and the trees reply his father. That is how he is described. He is walking, and his father also is following him. And apparently it happened that they passed by a lake where some women were bathing. And when Shukadevji passed by, those women did not hesitate at all. Whereas when the father, was passing by, they sort of covered themselves. So father says, Veda Vyasa says, hey, my young son, so handsome, and you didn't feel hesitant at all in his presence, and I'm an old man, and why are you covering yourself? He says, well, except your son has no idea, He has no, what shall I say, awareness of a male, female, nothing at all. Whereas you have that. So this is how the wise people are described also. But then, as I said, what is the evidence that a person is wise? I won't give any name because it's always debatable, whether it's always. But that's why I say that we can only, to some extent, judge from our own standpoint as to what the wisdom does. Forget about liberation, stuff like that. What it does to a person as far as his nature is concerned, his self is concerned, that he becomes free from all hatred. He becomes a loving person, a compassionate person. What more do you want from life? For living life, this is what you want actually. Whether he is Jivan Mukta, that may be. But what counts to us really is that the person has no attachment, no partiality. He is equal and equal loving to everybody, compassionate, always reaching out, maintaining always a cheerfulness of the mind, etc. So, this is what we can see, and I think if somebody is like that, whether he is even mukta or not, I think I would be quite happy with that person, and I would be happy to be that person also. So we can, and if there is a question of how do we convince our young people, I guess that's where the question arises from, maybe. Says we have noticed changes in our psyche and we are the beneficiary of many subtle changes. However, in interactions with general public and young people, we are challenged about lack of evidence of moksha or self-knowledge benefiting the society. Moksha does not benefit any society and self-knowledge also does not benefit. But then the person who has that self-knowledge, where self-knowledge results into a completely transformed person, where it radiates from his personality in terms of nobility, in terms of compassion, in terms of peace. That's what benefits the society. And it is not that a person has to be perfect to be beneficiary. To whatever extent you have acquired, those noble qualities, to that extent you are a beneficiary. So, if the young people and other people want to see, what is the benefit of this knowledge makes you free from, it helps you include. This knowledge expands you, becomes more inclusive, makes you less self-centered, makes you more reaching out. And that's how the society is benefited. And so, Shraddha and faith is whether this person knows or not. But what that person is very evident. And that itself can be presented as an evidence of, look, what the people who are studying Vedanta or contemplating upon them or spend time with them, how there is a change or transformation in them and how they have become the beneficiary to society. But in fact, the thing is that why worry about it? What the children are looking for is transformation in ourselves, not in somebody else. Where the parents have a problem is that they are not able to demonstrate to the children that they have benefited from this. So when my uncle got retired, we said, hey, uncle, now come on, start going to temple. He says, your auntie, that is his wife, he's going to temple since last 35 years. What has happened to her? So this is where people want to see change, really speaking, than somebody else. So we have to be agents of change in ourselves, and then we alone can become the evidence of others. Even if we show somebody else, so what? Where are you? What has happened to you? So this is where we are challenged. That we may not be able, I'm not saying this, but it's possible that a person will demonstrate that you have benefited from this. And this is a challenge to everybody has to face. What is this done to you? Swamiji, listening to Vedanta for so many years, what has happened? How are they? So our Bada Swamiji, somebody asked him, he was just giving his public talks in an open ground, and in a question and answer session, somebody asked, Swamiji, these people sitting in the front row, and when you're talking to them, and they're all attending for years together, and they're all smiling and then enjoying your talk. But have you seen how they behave when they come out at the bus stop, and how they behave? Have you seen that? So he was challenged, what are you doing? Sort of. So then, typically he will tell a story in reply to some questions. He says, one Sunday morning, this man is reading his newspaper and says to his wife, please bring cup of coffee. After a while, the wife comes with coffee. He is absorbed in reading newspaper and sips the coffee. Hey, come on, again you have forgotten sugar, it's bitter. So his wife comes and says, looks at him, says, do you see something? What do I see? Do you see there is a spoon there? Yeah. Okay, spoon is meant for a certain purpose. He's added the sugar, you have to stir it. Similarly, I add this to my people, they have to stir it, Then only the sweetness will prevail. So, we have to do this. The teachers keeps on adding it to us. Stirring we have to do. And when we don't do that, we discredit the whole thing, actually. When we do not display or demonstrate some change in ourselves, and people are always watching. Don't think that people are there. When we wear these clothes, but they watch in particular. Everybody is under scrutiny. And everybody is watching every little move also of people and what they say, what they do, everything. You're a public figure. That's all. But as I say, then so it becomes more challenging. And therefore it is very important that this is meant to live life. No doubt it is meant to understand and everything is there. Somebody asks, do you have to be a scholar, Swamiji? Well, scholar is fine. But then as I said, we have to stir this and assimilate it. And so that is called for, and that is what is the only evidence that we can provide. We have to the evidence. What else can you say? That's what the young people are asking. What is the evidence? Means what evidence do I see in you? That's, I guess, what is meant there, perhaps. Now, I'm not saying about the person who asked the question. I'm sure they are demonstrating, but in general, this is what children want to know. What change has happened in you and how you demonstrate that. A lot of claims are there, yeah. That can be. It is possible, that people are claiming to be so and so, I guess, and they want the evidence of that. The only evidence we have is the way the person behaves. What's the evidence? That's all that we have. Other claims are of no meaning to us, that he has such and such powers, and that may be so. But, what's the benefit of that to the society? That's really what people want to see. It doesn't have to be that way, but this is what people want to see. And so, in fact, when we go to these classes and things, it becomes a little greater responsibility. Because then people expect something from us. That you have been going to classes for all these years and this and that, and then so they expect something, and then when you don't see it, either they reject Vedanta altogether, all your gurus, and then depends, what they want to reject. If they don't reject you, they reject other people. But there is nothing we can do about it. We cannot burden I can't say that this is, it happens on its, in course of time. People always have have expectations, and we have to be humble about this. Yes, this is what I am, and this is the best I can do. So, don't make any claims, don't create any scenes, show, or whatever. Just be what you are. Let people judge and see what you are. And if they think that you are no good, I am no good. You don't need. So, as we should be as honest as we can and as transparent as we can. That's all. I'm very confused whether I should pray or just meditate, since I am believing that praying to God by having altar in home is nothing. So if you are believing that praying to God is nothing, then the question doesn't remain. Why are you confused that I should pray or meditate? If you believe that praying is nothing, then the question of praying does not come. If I read it correctly, I am very confused whether I should pray or just meditate, since I am believing that praying to God by having altar in home is nothing. So altar in home is nothing, or temple is nothing, or what it is. So please clear my there isn't a confusion here. You seem very clear. The person who asked the question seems to be clear that I am believing that praying to God in home is nothing. So where is the confusion? Then you meditate. If praying is nothing, then next, as you say, should I pray or meditate? Then meditate. And also he is going around, what is Sanishwaran temple, Shani temple. Is it necessary if you only believe in Ishvara? No, I don't know. Shanishwara also is Ishvara. And people go there with some specific agenda. If you don't have an agenda, you don't have to go there. So I am confused about what the question is, really speaking. As though prayer and meditation are different things, that is first assumption here. It doesn't have to be. Basically, upasana means prayerful meditation. That's called upasana. And so, unless by meditation you mean nididhyasanam aham brahmasmi, then all prayers will serve their purpose. If you are able to contemplate that I am Brahman, then fine, you don't need to do anything, because all the prayers have served the purpose. If by meditation you mean what meditation, I do not know, but if it is different from the prayerful meditation, then what meditation is that other than you mean nididhyasana? It's fine. If you are able to do nididhyasana, please do that. Then I would say that other things have served the purpose if you are able to stay with nididhyasana, meaning meditating upon the reality of the self. That's fine. If that cannot be done all the time, and then so your mind wanders, then that means you need the grace of God, and we pray for seeking grace of Ishvara. Shanishwaram, why is it specifically mentioned? Any devata. Unless you go to Shanishwara for some reason, because this Shanishwara grants you some special favors, I guess, And so these days this has become very famous devata, Shanishwaram. Some time ago, nobody talked about Shanishwaram, but nowadays, some movies there, some serial something was there, I think, which is what must have made this famous. Or some controversy was there in this country about women can go there and not go there and stuff like that. So I guess Shanishwar became famous because women could not go there, and then some women asserted that we want to go there. They entered, the forced entry. If they tell me you cannot go there, I say I don't want to go there. Why should I want to go where you don't want me to go there? Why do women want to go there? I don't know. If I were a woman, I say I don't care. You don't need to go there, I will not go there. Why should I go? It's my right to go. Depends on what you call your right. But why women should not go? The priest had some explanation about all of that anyway. They think that if women go there, they will get hurt anyway. That's what they believe. What women should not do, they should not do. That's what they believe. I'm not telling you this, but the thing is that if you do what women are not supposed to do, you're hurting yourself. This is what they tell us. And so, watch out before venturing into this kind of things. Shani, etc. are very complicated. They are not easy devatas, and therefore you don't know what they will do. Why only unstitched clothes are worn by brahmacharis or sannyasis? Why shikha, which means tuft, is also kept? There are a few other such traditions. Kindly explain. If this question is asked by a non-Indian, then I can understand. Asked by an Indian person, then I would be really... I don't know what should I say, but anyway. So traditionally, as we said, brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa. So brahmacharya is a life of student, which is a life of discipline, because all your energies are meant to be, employed for study and whatever else you are supposed to do. So therefore, they should live a simple life. Therefore, the clothes are very simple, unstitched. Where will you go for stitching? So unstitched clothes. Tuft shows the commitment. Tuft, not only tuft, but also a sacred thread. So these are what are worn when you are initiated into the study of the Vedas. And also it represents certain commitment. The tuft has 3 strands at least. Shows the connection of the brahmachari with the Vedas, with the Acharya, with Ishvara. So he is still committed to them and they are in his life very much. A sannyas, that means none of that is that. That is what sannyas means. That doesn't mean he has cut off. That means he has grown out of the need. That you by cutting off, it doesn't get cut off. You do something because already you have achieved. You see, just because you get certificate, you don't become a doctor. You become doctor, then you get certificate. You follow? People want sannyasa thinking that by that they become sannyasis. No, you become sannyasi for anything first. And then only as a recognition that thing happens, So you become doctor first, engineer first, this, that, and then you get certificate. Not that you get certificates to become an engineer or something like that. But the thing is that these are kept as a commitment. So then you know that your commitment for scriptures, Ishvara, that is praised every day regularly. Scripture is studies the teacher, that he learns from teacher and serves the teacher. So that's a commitment. Sacred thread also is a commitment. Because there is a knot there, which also is a knot for these 3. And this reminds him as to what he is committed to. So that is why, just as every kind of a professional has his own kind of uniform. So this is uniform, brahmachari. Sannyasi was uniform, So people in India, why do you wear this? It's amazing how ignorant people can be of their own tradition. They don't know why are you wearing this? They don't know what is sannyas. In India they do not know. Fortunately some people have made sannyas are quite famous. First were ISKCON people were there. Nowadays you don't see them, many of them. Now Swami is there. So many of these sadhus are there. So therefore they know what a sadhu is. So when they say Jai Swaminarayan, I say Jai Swaminarayan. Other things they do not know. The only thing they know is only Swaminarayan. Formerly they used to say Jai Hare Krishna when they saw me, because that's all they knew. Meaning that sannyasis are a strange creatures even in this country, because sannyasis used to confine themselves to Haridwar and Rishikesh, etc. They were hardly there they are not part of the society. They are part of forest or they are part of places like that. Now that sannyasis are there, are sent there as teachers, etc., that they live in the community, it's a little strange combination. For sannyasis in the midst of community, etc. But this is what nowadays is required for them to contribute to the community in terms of sharing their knowledge with them. Basically started with Swami Chinmayananji. He wanted all these people to go to the masses, teach them, etc. So that's how, even earlier also, sadhus used to come, but only during the Chaturmasa, when they will camp for 2 months in a given town or a village or whatever, and conduct the classes. That's how they did teach. But for the rest of the time, they would not be there. Sadhus would come in the Chaturmasa. And then wherever there were any mathas were there or ashramas were there, then sadhus would be there. Now they are more common in terms of our Vedantic teachers also, and now other traditions also have many more sadhus. But then their uniforms are somewhat different. Swaminarayan is a different kind of uniform because they are different kind of sadhus. They have tuft and the sacred thread also. So Vaishnava tradition is something, and then the Vedantic tradition, so the sannyasis, Hamsa sannyasi, Paramahamsa sannyasi. So Swaminarayan not Paramahamsa sannyasis. And then we are all Paramahamsa, meaning that there is no sign or no emblem of any kind. And so no tuft, no sacred thread, no staff, nothing. And unstitched clothes, because I say that's the simplest way you can live. Beg your food, so have minimum possessions. So that's the ideal life of a sadhu. But then we have different other traditions also, like Vaishnava sadhus are also there. There was some different uniform kind of a thing. Yeah, sadhus were unstitched, okay, but then some of them are in white, some of them are in red, some of them are in yellow, some of them are in black even, and some are in orange. Okay, so that completes our course today. So any volunteer as far as bhajan is concerned?